Corner podcast. My name is Jeff. I hope you're well on this fine evening, dear listeners, dear viewers. I'm joined as always by my good friend Paul. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm very good, Jeff. Very good. A little bit cooler than it has been the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. So I'm good.
Yes, yeah. Do you know, I'm slightly sunburnt on the back of my neck because I was filming yesterday, and I was
sort of
outdoors.
Radiation glow from behind you.
And I left the house and I thought I haven't put sun cream on, so that was a fairly major faux pas for an outdoor shoot all day.
First world problem.
So I'm regretting that. But we've got a very special guest with us tonight. His third appearance on the podcast with us. A very good friend of WHOC2C, and a man who's been very busy since we last spoke as well. Mr. Chris Chibnall, good evening to you.
Evening. How are we? All right?
Very good, thank you.
We're very good, thank you. Yes,
it's a hat trick, isn't it? It's a hat trick of apperances I've got with you guys now.
Yeah. There you go. So we should be able to get it right this time, I guess.
Yeah.
The perfection is not the aim.
Exactly. It's a journey. It's a journey that matters.
Yeah. So we've got quite a bit to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Not least your latest release.
Nice.
We were just comparing them before you came on, and as you might be able to see, mine's a signed copy.
Just got a signed copy. Yeah. And you got it before it was actually published as well, which I'm very annoyed about.
Yeah. Well, I ordered through Waterstones, and it turned up about a week before release. So that was quite nice.
But Paul, you've got a rare unsigned copy, so that's obviously much more valuable.
Exactly. I'll take that every day of the week, Chris.
Hasn't been devalued with my
Thank you so much for not signing it. It's great.
It's an absolute pleasure. I knew there was one out there, and damn it,
I got it. I got the one.
How was the signing process for you? Did they send you like 500 copies or 1,000 of that page to do, or did you get the whole lot of the books? Or
I didn't know about any of this until I started doing books. So yeah, you get a thing they're called tip-ins. The pages are called tip-ins, and you get big boxes of just that page delivered to your house, and you have and you have thousands of those pages to sign, and then they go. So it's quite early on before the book's published, obviously, and then it gets put into those editions during the binding process, I guess. So yeah, you have to devote a few days or a weekend or whatever to just doing that. Put the loud music on, sit at the table.
Get a stack of pens.
Interesting process. Yeah. All of that kind of stuff. Yeah, you have to decide what pen you're going to use, and all these new conundrums that I'm dealing with.
Yeah. But things which were never a problem before, suddenly they've got to be overcome. It's challenges.
No, not problem in television.
No, I suppose.
And did you sign them all for real, or did you have one of those sort of arm things that has like 6 pens on it, so when you move it does it across the others? Do you know what I mean?
But it would take so long to line that up. By the time you've done that each time, you might as well have signed it yourself, mightn't you? Yeah, no, they're all authentic. Or some authors just have a stamp, don't they, and do that, and then move on. No, they're all from my fair hand.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, very nice. So, how's life been since we last spoke? You've had a TV show and a second book, and no doubt many other things that are secret. So, yeah, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. I'm really good, yeah. What did we speak to us about, 18 months, something like that?
Yeah, it must be, I think, yeah.
It was when the first novel came out, wasn't it?
Yes, at the end of March 25. So
just over
so we finished off post-production on Seven Dials, and was writing the second book, and then Seven Dials came out, and then and also the Death at White Hart came out in paperback as well, and then Seven Dials came out in January, and then I curated a film festival in the spring here, and then the hardback. So it's been surprisingly busy. Post Doctor Who life was supposed to be a lot quieter, and so far I have failed at that.
You failed at that, yeah.
But in a nice way. But I've had some holidays as well, so that's been good.
Oh,
that
that's
didn't
good.
happen very much during production.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's quite a variety to your activities as well. Where I guess the Doctor Who was just totally focused 100% on that. Now you can pick and choose a few things, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure we talked about this when we first spoke, but yeah, what I really wanted to do coming out of Doctor Who was do some different things. You know, I did a play, which obviously you guys saw, and then the books, and then TV. But you just sort of being quite selective about the projects I do. Definitely the variety. After the sort of full-on thing of 3 seasons of Doctor Who, that's been great and really energizing. It's creatively fulfilling. It's really nice, and also everything's unexpected and doing new things, particularly when you've been writing for a while. You know, to have a career where you can do new things and be in new areas. Yeah, it's really great.
The fact that you get to, you always kind of pick and choose what you do, really, and must be very creatively kind of freeing and exciting.
Yeah, it's lovely. And then there's also the showrunners scheme that my company, Imaginary Friends, runs, and I run, and we've just finished our second cohort of that, training showrunners. So that's also, again, really creatively fulfilling, because it's passing on information and encouraging people and mentoring people, and that's really great as well. So it's a real mixed bag of stuff that I'm doing, and that's really lovely.
And all good stuff as well, you know. And, very exciting. So we'll come on to all of those things as we talk. So let's talk a little bit about the Detective Nicola Bridge books, so Death at the White Hart and the Parkwood Murders. So for anyone who doesn't know, give us a bit of who is she, and give us the kind of
what's her story.
What's the overall on it.
Yeah, well, there's 2 books so far. Death at White Hart was the first one, the latest, which is out in paperback, and then Parkwood Murders has just come out on the 16th of July as we record this, in hardback. You can read both of them as standalones. You don't have to read Death at White Hart before you read Parkwood Murders. You'll get a little bit more out of it, but they exist as standalones as well as 2 in a series. Nicola Bridge is our central character, really, the detective who, in the first book, she returns to her hometown of Briddy in Dorset from having policed in Liverpool, been a very important detective in Liverpool for 20 years, and she returns home to sort out her work-life balance, to try and reclaim a bit of her life. Doesn't really succeed, because there is a dead body on the A35 with antlers tied to its head, which is the very first few pages of Death at the White Hart. Turns out to be the pub landlord, but we've spoken about that before. So she is late 30s, and she's coming back to a police force that is underfunded. The chief constable has just resigned in disgrace. There's no headquarters, there's no office space, there's no staff. She's having to deal with the realities of modern policing. So she has a very small team. In the first book, she teams up with a younger detective constable, Harry Ward, known as Westlife, for his boy band good looks. Yeah. And they have a real connection that develops through the first book and carries on into the Parkwood Murders. And I guess the Parkwood Murders finds them a year or so after Death at the White Hart, and the story of it is basically the holiday villages that we all know and love that are dotted around the country, guys. The holiday villages that are set in woodland and have hundreds of lodges, and they have swimming pools with wave machines and cycle hire and high ropes and restaurants and things like that. So it's set in a resort like that. Yeah,
lots of parks.
Yes, lots of parks.
Central parks, if you will.
We don't say the C word. We're not going to say the C. That's quite a good fun reference in there. So do you kind of go to this place? These woodland park areas and think, what if somebody got murdered there? What would happen? What would it be like?
I mean, I've been to those places across the decades of having been a parent, basically, and as I think quite a lot of people have been since my kids were young. It haven't been a lot, but a handful of times, and they're very interesting places. They've sort of replaced, I remember when I was growing up, in the ancient decades of 70s and 80s when it was sort of Butlins and Pontins, and those were the sort of places that a lot of people went to. But now it's these places, much more lavish, much more, lots more sort of facilities, more aspirational, but also, and great holidays, but also really weird, right? In terms of you pay to go and have a sort of curated nature woodland experience. It's not really nature; it's like nature, and it's also slightly like the place that a lot of people live anyway, with sort of a high street and a swimming pool and So it's a really odd mix of things, and you go and sort of pay through the nose, really, to go and spend your week with 400 strangers all locked into this one resort,
literally hemmed in.
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, well, I think that's what occurred to me while we were, and I had the idea for this about 7 years ago, and I've kept it close to me. I definitely, I was thinking about doing it as the first TV show I did after Doctor Who, and then when I thought about doing novels, I was like, oh no, because it was a 2-book deal, now a 4-book deal, but it was the thing of thinking that would be a great second novel. It goes up a level from Death at the White Hart, and basically the whole premise is a body is found in the pool, in the wave machine at 4 a.m., which is still going, and a security guard stumbles across it, and Nicola Bridge has to investigate, but the whole problem is there are 400 suspects who've just checked in. And also, as you know, if you've been to one of these resorts, it's like the barriers come down on a Monday as soon as you've checked in, and they don't go up until Friday. So there's 400 suspects. They're all locked in. There's also the staff, everybody who works there, cleaners, restaurant workers, security, management, and they're all going to check out the guests on Friday. So it's a locked room mystery against a ticking clock. And and when I first pitched it to a guy who brilliant guy who gave me advice on all the police procedure and structures and everything like that, his eyes kind of lit up with the impossibility of it. So it's been pretty thoroughly researched as well.
Brilliant.
So before we talk about that, I just want to say I went to Centre Parks with my family years ago.
It's not set at Centre Parks, Jeff. It's set at Parkwood.
Yes, sorry, you're right. I went to Parkwood.
It's a real place
years ago, and
but you went to Centre Parks, which is vaguely resembles
similar,
but not the same. And like you said, you pay through
in Dorset. It's only just down the road,
You pay
website and everything, Jeff.
Yeah, you pay through the nose for everything. My dad still refers to it as Swindle Parks because
that's rude. By the way, if you work for Centre Parks and you're listening, that's completely Jeff's opinion. It's not shared by anybody else on the WHOC2C.
I think other opinions are available.
I think valid.
You just kind of gave the sort of elevator pitch for it there, Chris, and I started reading the book before Paul, and I text you, and I said,
because you got it before me.
I said I can
throwing that one in again. Doesn't really hurt. I'll get over it one day.
I said I go to Waterstones next time, Paul.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I said I can see this, and in my head, and I can hear the music playing for it, and the building tension and this escalating murder scenario that is impossible, and it's massive. What like you said, 400 people, all the staff, they're trapped in there against the clock and everything, and it's so brilliantly kind of put together. And I said that
the scale of that challenge, isn't it? And the way you kind of introduce it, and the way it kind of reveals itself to Nicola Bridge as actually this is what she's got to deal with now. And
I really felt her sort of like, oh shit, this is. insurmountable, and
great. And also that they don't have any resources, which is true. They don't have.
Makes it even
there's
harder.
Only her and Harry, and then the third wheel of their dynamic, which is Mel, the guy who sort of the member of their team who's a reluctant guy who just doesn't really want to interact with anyone, any human being. Is pretty good at tech, but nothing else besides, and a few constables. So that sense of the odds are just completely stacked against them just felt really delicious as a premise for a book, and just that sense of everybody being locked in together. And the thing that happens in the book, as you guys know, is that they have to go and stay there. They have to. So Nicola and Harry and later Mel have to stay in a lodge because otherwise they'd be losing hours commuting back and forth. They set it up as an incident room, so it's both their workspace and also they have to stay there all together as well. So all of that.
It's kind of a crucible for all the relationship.
Yes, that's really true.
And everything else, isn't it?
Yes,
and it smells of
which
socks.
takes it on a step. And it smells of Mel's socks. That's one of the things we learn about Mel in this book. Is that you don't really want to share a lodge with him. But you're right, though, Paul. It's like that thing of taking all the relationships from the first novel and just turning them up a notch and putting them under more pressure and seeing how the relationships have changed over time and then will change within this.
And one of the questions we had is, I imagine you're planning these threads to, and I love how you just casually dropped that you've got another 2 books in the deal, which is fantastic. Congratulations.
2-book deal to a 4-book deal. Hey,
it's nice.
That's not bad.
That's really great.
You bought the first ones.
Yeah. But there's developments with Nicola and her husband, and with Ethan and with Mel, and they're not all kind of wrapped up within each book, are they? So like you said, you can read the second one first and you get that kind of overall story, but you'd sort of think, I might have missed a little bit here, I should go back, and so I like that there's obviously ongoing kind of plot threads and character stuff within it all.
And I think it's that thing with Nicola of that also she's a character. It's not just a detective novel. It's about her life. It's about her character. It's about her family relationships. In Death at the White Hart, it's very much about the state of her marriage. And in this one, it's as much about her relationship with her son, who's 17, and he's also contributing to her woes and pressures because he's out there in the middle of the night doing stuff he really shouldn't be doing and getting into trouble, and that pulls her away from the case at one point. And so it's making sure that she's a character that's very rounded and multi-dimensional, and that it feels hopefully the emotional psychology of these books is as compelling as the twists and turns and the cliffhangers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you might not remember, my son is called Ethan, and I thought if my
Ethan
remember,
okay.
Well, if mine ends up doing that,
fans in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that why?
It is why. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, there you go.
So
cool.
he's 12 in a month and a half actually, and we had 2 names that we'd agreed upon, Ethan and Barney, and from How I Met Your Mother, and we were like, I think we'll go with Ethan because Ethan Hunt's really cool, so that's why he's called Ethan. But he hasn't watched Mission Impossible, so he's really got no idea what like
one day
exactly. Yeah. And the title of the book is also slightly misleading as well, isn't it? I don't know about you, Paul, but I got about halfway through and I looked back at it, I was like, it's got an S on the end.
Murders, plural.
Yes. It's a question that is answered in the book, isn't it?
It is.
So it's very deliberately. It's I don't know how we talk about that, but it's there is a body at the start, but the title of the book is The Parkwood Murders.
Yeah. Yes, we shan't say too much for people who we've just lost Paul. Sorry, I'm really we'll just wait till he comes back. Of
course.
We won't say too much because we want people to read it. I got about halfway through and I was like, oh yeah, there's a plural on the end here, so I wonder what else is going to happen.
It's very, very deliberately set like that. So that's exactly the experience I want you to have, really.
Yeah, that's great. So let me just scroll down. So let's talk a little bit about Mel. So Mel Hardiman, he's really grumpy, and but he has this wonderful development, doesn't he, within the story.
Do you know, I just one thing I just have to say, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but because you talked about the emotional weight of this story, and this is something that I think, really distinguishes it from a lot of other titles on the market. The murder mystery itself is fantastic. It's excellent. It's really good. But that kind of current, that building undercurrent of and it's not so much, it's the relationships, yes, but deeper than that is a real problem or a real kind of crisis that I suddenly could see. I'm not going to give it away, but it's almost, I'm tempted to call it a middle-aged crisis, but it's not. It's much more than that. It's it's part of the human condition. It's part of being human. It's part of what can happen when you're married and how you might feel, and when you have kids and your responsibility to them and how you react to them as they get older, all of that stuff. And you know what I'm talking about, you guys, because you read it. I think Chris has read it as well. So it's that in itself is something that is worthy of the Booker Prize. There could be a novel just about that element and it will be held up as a massive kind of literary standard because it is treated so brilliantly and so honestly and so truthfully that I was really surprised by it, and I was surprised to find myself responding to it as well. And it's like, I think we have thought of those things, but you make a decision, don't you? You are who you are, and you're better because of it. But it's like, just for a second, you see some chinks in there somehow, in the dark times, and it's like, wow, that was really quite something.
I think, thank you for talking about it like that. That's really, I'm really thrilled you had that reaction. I think it's one of those things, isn't it, where you want these books to exist on a number of levels. You want them to be the page-turning mysteries, but they're also, they want to be about the human condition and what our lives are like as we live them now. And there are certain things within the book that are very specific to 2026 and the years that we've been through. And same with Death at the White Hart. The jobs that people did in that book are very deliberately modern jobs, 0 hours jobs, those kind of things, and how that's affecting a small village and a pub now. This is really about that whole idea, which you touched upon there, Paul, of we go on holiday to get away, but you can't get away from yourself. And actually, the sense for all these characters, also for Nicola and for Harry and even for Mel, that you can't escape yourself. And in a way, being in an environment like Parkwood it intensifies that question, and that your relationship with your inner self and your life choices and your decisions and all of those things are sort of somehow under the spotlight when you're away, even more so. So I'm really delighted that resonated with you, and I hope it just has that the book has a movement and an emotional force above and beyond the mystery and the resolution,
and the plot.
Exactly,
absolutely, because
it absolutely does.
It gets quite sort of emotionally deep, towards the end. I think I blue skied you, and I actually, without giving anything, I actually found it quite sad at the end, with what happens to some people and things. And there's a lot of the Nicola's things with Mike and with Ethan, and the relationship with Harry as well, and thoughts and things. And it's exactly like you said, Paul, it's things that are for our mutual kind of age group and stuff. These things come up, I think, and and also, like you said, Chris, there's a lot about kind of post-COVID life and things, and maybe it hasn't really hit everyone how much that kind of affected stuff, and all of that. There's a lot going on in it, and it's very real, and it's brilliantly done. It really is.
Well, thanks. I think that's definitely a thing with any story. You're always thinking about, well, what's happened in the previous 5 years or decade or something like that, and really with this, it's a chance to go, where are we now as a bunch of people, as a country, not in a heavy-handed way, but in a, how is it affecting us in our hour by hour, day-to-day lives? And we're all carrying the past 5 years in our emotional backpacks, really, and I don't think we realise it. And then suddenly you sort of open these things. So yeah, the novel plays with that a little bit as well. And it's also the lovely thing about the scale of a novel is you can have all of these things, and you can also have 19-year-old cleaners and 70-year-old mothers, and all. It's got a real range of characters, so that hopefully everybody finds someone to latch onto, as well as Nicola and Harry. And obviously it's told mostly from Nicola's point of view, but then you have lots of chapters which are, as in Death at the White Hart, from the point of view of the people who are staying there, but who are also suspects, but told from their perspective as well, and whether they're reliable or unreliable narrators. I really love doing that.
Yeah, it's great. And I think just before you went, Paul, we were going to talk about Mel and Esther that you meet.
Yes,
and
I love the both of them. I know a Mel and I know an Esther. I've known lots of those guys, and they're all wonderful, wonderful people. And to see them in your novel is just absolutely delightful.
It brought me joy. But they're genuine characters. It's not like I bonded with them because I know these people and they're dear friends.
Great.
And I just love seeing them in there and represented so truthfully, not for lols, not to have cheap digs at and stuff like that, like we might have done in the 70s or whatever. But it's like they're like everybody else in the novel. They're genuine. They have their place. They contribute to it. It wouldn't play out if they weren't there. You know what I mean? They affect things as they go on, and I love that. I love these guys giving their voice in the book.
Yeah, and that bit, Mel couldn't believe. Esther sort of talking to him that way and taking a bit of
all right, handsome. Yeah.
And it's just, I thought, I've felt that in the past,
Are you secretly Mel, Jeff? That's the question. Who's the Mel in your office or your team? That's always the thing. He does come up a lot at signings and events and stuff like that. And I think it's lovely to have that character who's just they're infrequently, but in the background in Death of the White Hart, and he's just moved slightly more. He's stepped forward a bit in this book, and it just feels like hopefully. And I love what you're saying there, Paul, about feeling like you've got a genuine relationship with these characters after 2 books. It's like thinking, okay, there's lots of mileage in this group and where they can go and what they're going to do next. So it's lovely to hear.
Yeah. Well, it is. It kind of feels like there's a little crew there of people that we just love being with. You know what I mean? It's just I love that. It's like when you got a great Bond film, and in Skyfall when we get Q joining the team, and then by the end of it we've got Moneypenny. It's like the team are in. It's like this kind of Scooby Gang Buffy kind of feel. You know what I mean? It's that.
Well, you always want.
I've just cheapened it by saying that.
No, you haven't. You've elevated it.
Exactly. Yeah. So how locked in? Obviously, don't give a thing about how locked in is your kind of character arcs?
Plan.
Are you prepared for things to kind of change as you go, or do you have a kind of fairly clear through line?
The 2 books right now, Chris.
For the future novels, or when I start a novel?
Both.
I think for the future novels, only at the back of my head, I don't have a sort of, master plan, because I think in the writing of each novel, I discover so much as we go, and events happen to them, and then how they respond and what pressures they're put under. I sort of have a vague sense of where they're going to be. But really you want to expose them to the action to discover. So it's within the writing and redrafting of the novel, it's like, okay, that's where they're going. But I guess I have a sense of where I think they'll be, say, in 2 books' time, certainly. And then I think when you get into the specific novels themselves, it's different for each character, really. So, with Nicola, I've always got a sense at the start of the novel of why are we telling this story in terms of its impact, either impact on Nicola or what it reveals about her, or preferably both. So why is she the detective that this story needs, and why is this story the challenge that she needs? That's really important. And then I'm thinking about, okay, what is that going to reveal of the dynamic with her and Harry, and her and Mel, and her and her family? So yeah, you're sort of percolating on all of those things to make sure that the story feels worthy of the time we're going to spend in it, and the time and the challenges it's going to put on her. And then when you get to the guest characters, if you like, the sort of the individual characters in each novel, like the suspects, for so for in White Hart, that's the people who live in the village of Fleetcombe where the pub is, and in Parkwood Murders, it is all the guests and staff of Parkwood. Obviously, it narrows down as we go through the novel. It's really thinking, who are they? What's an interesting mix? Why have they come? What are the issues in their lives? What secrets are they keeping, both externally and also to themselves? And so you're always thinking about all of those things, really.
Mm-hmm. So, how far along are you with plans for the third book?
I know the setting and the premise, and I'm just in the research phase and the walking around phase, and the plot starting to come together, and the bunch of characters coming together, and I might have the first sentence.
It's got to start somewhere.
Ask me when it's published whether it remained the first sentence, because often they don't, or often you finesse it, or often you go, oh no, there's 5 more chapters before that. But I've got that. It's another very specific, precise setting, and really, hopefully, lovely and atmospheric. And it's going to be a very different challenge for Nicola and for Harry. So I'm excited about it.
I must say as well, and I think I said this before, but I like that there's a slight supernatural hint in them as well.
It always kind of teases that, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
With the stone in Parkwood, and I like that you've just dropped a little bit of that kind of stuff in there, folklore and things.
Yeah, I mean, I think particularly when you're dealing with stories of life and death, it is sort of these things that talk about life beyond what we know, and beyond mortality, or hint at worlds that are more. I just like that flavour within these. Obviously, there was a bit of that in Broadchurch as well with Will Malle's character, although he was based on a number of real life cases. So I like it. I think it just gives it another flavour that I really. I really love, and it sort of plays. It just pushes at the walls of genre as well, because they're all.
Sorry, I was going to say, as Paul knows, I love a bit of spooky Doctor Who. So
who doesn't?
This touch of spooky in these has been right up my street. It's great.
I think there's also a kind of a connection to the geography, the land, in the way that, in the way that Thomas Hardy was so of this landscape, the sort of Salisbury Plain and the southwest, the Dorset coast and all of that. And this feels to me very similar in a similar kind of vein, maybe not quite so overt as Hardy was, but it's still there. It provides the bedrock for all these dramas that are played out on this kind of stretch of time that is almost infinite. You know what I mean? It's there. At least I feel it anyway.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you, and I think it's that sense of when you're in nature and in landscape, and if you're in Dorset, you're surrounded by that sense of time, sense of history, sense of the past, sense of there were many people here before you, there will be many people here after you. Yeah. And that sense of continuity, I think, is also what that kind of supernatural reminders of the past, or echoes of that. It just gives you, it sort of roots you into time as well as place. Yes, exactly. In a very abstract and sort of non-linear way.
Yeah,
and they're mysterious. Those things are really mysterious as well. Basically, why is that stone there? Why is there a standing stone in the middle of Parkwood? And
I know, and it's like
Yeah, come on.
because you were saying like the fact that Parkwood has kind of ring fenced this area of nature and has kind of manicured it to be like an idealized version of nature, but with all our mod cons and everything else being you know what I mean, and yet in the middle there's a standing stone. You know, almost like it cannot be removed, it can't be cultivated, and it brings out an almost kind of primal kind of side of humanity. And yes, you know, the fact they have this
the solstice stuff with
the solstice procession thing, that's it, you know, and yes, it's attempted to be manicured in terms of the rest of the Parkwood, but there's brutal things that have happened there, or potentially brutal, and I'm going to go into spoilers now. I don't want to. I think it's like a crux of the drama. Everything that happens because of,
and it's a physical manifestation of things, isn't it, as well? And it's also, I think,
it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a visual representation of time and mystery and all of those things. And yes, you're right. It's like that whole novel. You know, those incidents take place over the summer solstice, and Parkwood have monetized that into a solstice parade. And so that all of that plays into it. It's just added pressure as well.
Yeah. I was disappointed the stone didn't start glowing red and moving around and crushing campers.
Did I cut that bit? Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah.
Did you?
Oh, that was
shame on you, Chris.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That was
in the
deleted
deleted deleted chapters. Yeah.
So how's the book tour been going? You've been out on the road again, like you did for Death at the White Hart, and I think you've met a few of our friends that we've met through the podcast, and I've seen some photos of you with people, which is lovely to see.
Yeah, lovely, and really fabulous that people turn up and turn out, and there's always somebody in a Jodie t-shirt, which I always love to see, and it's been great. I've been zigzagging the country. I think last week I did Dorset, London, Bramall, Birmingham, Wirral, Salford to record loose ends, and then Harrogate, and then back to Dorset, and then I'm off to Manchester to do one this weekend, which is sort of the last of this sort of launch events, and then I'll be doing a few more bits and pieces, just scattered, a couple of festivals in the autumn and one or two events. I think a couple of events in Scotland and one in Iceland, and then a German reading tour in the autumn as well. So it's it's really great. It's amazing to have those events in bookshops and in other venues where people are coming along and you just talk about the novel, a bit like this, very much like this, in fact, where you can do that and people can ask questions. It's really great to connect with readers, and there's always some Doctor Who questions as well, which is really great. So it's a really lovely mix, and it's different on this tour to the first one, because now there's people who've read White Hart, some people who've even read Parkwood before they come along. So it's a real mix of questions about books or TV work or Broadchurch or somebody's even asked last time about Born and Bred, my very first TV show, in the last episode of that. It was really, it's really lovely, and also what's great about it is the people who interview. Sometimes it's other authors, sometimes it's booksellers, sometimes it's presenters. It's a really great thing to do. I'm really enjoying the events.
It seems to be, it's a massive part of it all, isn't it? Going around doing that. And, we've got Waterstones in Horsham here, and they often have, authors come in. And I think it might have been earlier this year, Liz Pichon came, who does Tom Gates' books. So my kids all read those. So we went down, the queue was all down the street, and, it was bonkers. And, it seems like all this stuff is just really popular. And I think it's great that it happens. And Chris, do you find that people come to your events and some people kind of know everything you've done? Some people are there because they're for Who, or there people who are there just from the Nicola Bridge books? Is it quite a mixed
It is very mixed, and some people who are just really trust the bookshops or booksellers or the people who are organising that event, and that's a really big part of it. To your point about the importance of shops, of the Waterstones have really got behind both books for me, but also all the great independent bookshops do a great job. Just did Lingham's on the Wirral, which was a really great night, and Simply Books in Bramwell, just south of Manchester. It's a real mix of people now, and some people who are like, I want to read this, I haven't read it yet, and I don't really know who you are.
Intrigued,
but I just want to come along because this is an event, and I fancied it. So they're really lovely things, and I would encourage everybody listening to this. It's like your local bookshop does loads of events, and you'll get to talk to loads of interesting writers. So obviously come to the ones I'm doing, but actually just keep an eye on that local bookshop or one within 10 or 20 miles, because there's you say, so many great people get out there, and it's so easy to talk to them.
It's a place in Stenning near me, and they frequently have Julia Donaldson do stuff for the kids
wow.
there.
All right,
they're hugely popular, and it's just a funny story. She was connected with the Horsham Year of Culture event back in 2019, and I got to go and film her doing a live Gruffalo reading performance, where some of the local kind of entertainers we have around here were the mouse and blah blah blah. It was fantastic. So that was really cool getting to see that and do that. So what's the latest with Death at the White Hart becoming TV series? I see someone is begging for a part at the moment.
I think that's due to one of your listeners, isn't it? I'm writing the scripts at the moment. We're starting to. I'm probably about halfway through writing the scripts, and we are just starting to do recce's and just putting casting lists together. So early days. I think we'll film it next year. We just had to figure out when to film it optimally for the weather and for everybody's schedules, but mainly weather, because that makes a big difference, because there's a lot outside, there's a lot at night, but it's also, you want it to look beautiful. I hope we'll be filming it next year, and then hopefully it will be most likely on the year after. So it's in process alongside everything else. We've got a very good director, and I don't think that's been publicly announced, so I better watch my mouth. But you won't be disappointed.
I thought we were going to get an exclusive.
If I do that, then somebody will go, we were going to announce that in the first day of shooting or something.
Or is at the mercy of marketing people? But that sounds fun, though. It sounds like it's really getting somewhere, doesn't it? That's brilliant.
I'm really enjoying that, working with great people, because we're making that with Red Planet Pictures and my company Imaginary Friends, so that's really nice. There'll be more news on that as it develops, I guess. I wouldn't expect to hear much more this year, to be honest. Once we'll get really into it next year. At the moment, it's just me burrowed away trying to get everything written and locked before we film it.
So you're finding with a lot of stuff on your plate now. So you've got more novels to write. You've got screenplays to write. You've got to do the tours as well.
Yeah, and those are the things you know about.
Indeed.
When we first met, there was obviously things going on that you couldn't say about. So the things we don't know about now. You sound busy, but you're probably far busier than we are led to believe.
It's all about leading you to believe things, guys. It's
beautiful choice of
I
words,
wonder, because probably when we first met, we hadn't announced the Christie, perhaps, and I can't even remember.
You said you were doing something for Netflix.
There you go. So that's happened now. So it's things take a long time, and sometimes things happen really quickly. Sometimes they take a really long time. Some things don't come to fruition, but you have a lovely time working on them. So you never know, and particularly at the moment in all industries, it's such a a time of change and dare I say flux.
Yeah.
It's really there's no certainties anymore.
No.
Well, I mean, look, Doctor Who now. I mean, going out to tender. I mean, that's quite a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Getting into that, are we?
Well, no, sorry, I wasn't going I mean, look, we're a Doctor Who podcast.
I
we're
knew we were
probably going to mention it at some point.
Worry. I'm just teasing you, Paul. Yeah, but it's a good example, isn't it? But that's a really good example. I'm really happy to talk about it, by the way, as well. But I think it's a good example of how everything is changing. I would say about that coverage of that is, I think the biggest thing you can say about all of that is it's very easy to miss the point that this is primarily about money. That it's it's not really about all of the things that everybody is banging on about and moaning about or getting emotional about. Actually, it's very hard, and it's common industry knowledge and public knowledge. It's very hard for the BBC to fund their programmes right now because of what's been done to them in terms of funding agreements over the past 15 years and the slow whittling away of that and the increase in big Hollywood monoliths and conglomerates really taking over the market. And really what you've got is the BBC can't afford to fully fund any drama now, and it certainly can't afford to fund Doctor Who. And that's really any discussion around it is about money more than anything else. And I think that's been missed a little in the discourse that I saw around the show. This is, there's all kinds of other things, and obviously it's hugely disappointing and hasn't been handled brilliantly. But really, the big story is, look, this is a BBC that cannot afford to make shows that it wants to make. The BBC wants to make Doctor Who. Don't be in any doubt about that.
Well, that's clear.
Convinced.
And like you said, you if you're making something today, particularly a sci-fi show, it's got to compete with all those things that Disney Plus are doing.
All of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money. And obviously, Chris, the people can't do it alone now, because to reach that level and then to reach the kind of audience that they want, that they need, it needs that money behind it to hit a certain level on it. So it's tough.
And I think, if I'm a production company and I'm looking at things that are going out for tender, what I'm going to want to know is, well, what's the budget? How many episodes? And where's the funding coming from? And until that's sorted, you can't really move forward for it. And by the way, that's not me saying I'm not going anywhere near any of that process, just in case anybody misreads that. Absolutely not.
Read between the lines.
No, it will need, new people and a new generation to really kind of redo it and make it new again. That's what it always needs. It always needs to be new and exciting and surprising, and that taking by surprise is really important. I think it's. I think there are lots of things they will have to sort out, and I guess the byproduct of the Disney deal is ending is you had a funder, and then that funder is now gone, and it's hard. It will take some work on any show. It would take some work to then convince other co-production partners to come in at that point when somebody else has dropped out. That's so like I say, it all reverts back to money, and those are knotty problems that do take time. And in an ideal world, it wouldn't come off air while you're sorting that stuff, and it didn't. They've put other stuff out to tender.
I'm sure that wasn't the plan.
Well, they put Casualty out to tender, or Holby out. Songs of Praise. But it's because they can't fund it in the meantime. That's why. So really, for all the chat around it, and chat is in inverted commas, it's not about any of the things everybody says. It's about money and resources.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see on it, but we'll come back to some Who stuff in a minute. But I'd like to just go back to Seven Dials. So how did that all go? I really enjoyed it, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, I like that.
Gorgeous show as well, like
Beautiful looking,
really filmic, which is was also a hallmark of Who as well, with yourself. But I thought Seven Dolls looked fantastic, and Bundle was brilliant as well.
She was fun.
She's
So
amazing,
cool.
Mia,
Yeah.
isn't she? McKenna Bruce. She's
Yeah.
so good. And we knew we had a not necessarily secret, but a great secret weapon in her. When you go, oh yeah, she's so fabulous, and that character's so fabulous, and the way the two of those collided. And I mean, I'm really proud of that show. And I think Chris Sweeney directed it so well. It's so beautifully designed. The cast is to die for, and working with people like Mia and Helena Bonham Carter and Martin Freeman.
Yeah,
I just loved it. The sitting at the read through for that. Such a privilege, and you look around the room, and the table is pretty impressive, and and like Dorothy Atkinson and people like that, and Mark Lewis Jones, and Alex McQueen. Goodness me, amazing. So it was delightful, and we did have really great resources on that to give it some scale, but also to to honour the humour in that novel as well. It's a very funny book, and I wanted to keep that balance between the humour and the thrills and spills. It's not a traditional sort of stagey Christie novel. I don't mean Christie's novels are stagey. They can end up that way at certain points in dramatizations. We wanted to honour it's kind of a thriller, that book. It's an early thriller of hers, and loved doing it. It was great working for Netflix, and they've certainly rolled out the red carpet for us and did this incredible launch. And they do it all well, and I think we're all really, really super proud of it. And I was just I posted something the other day, but just saying I noticed in the Netflix charts of what everybody watched on Netflix in the first 6 months of this year. It's like Seven Dials is the 20th most watched show on the whole of Netflix globally. And the second most watched British drama. So really pleased with how that's gone down. So
do you think will you get to do Secret of the Chimneys?
I don't think you do that one because Bundle's not really in it in the same way, and it's not really. It's because it's written before Seven Dials, and it's not really her story. So no.
But is that the only two that she's in?
That's the only two that she's in. Yeah.
Right. You need an original series, though.
Yeah.
well, you can dream.
When shucks it.
When you've got a spare 5 minutes.
We talked about that before. The spare 5 minutes seems a little elusive at the moment, if I'm being honest.
Just lock them away in a little Schrodinger's box or something.
Exactly. Quantum writing.
Monday,
Indeed. Yeah, that's the future.
So, how was the Page to Screen Festival? That was in Bridport, wasn't it? A little bit early in the year, back in April?
It was in April. Oh, that was just fabulous. Yeah, we had a great time with that. So it's, for anybody who doesn't know, it's a thing that happens in the town where I live every year, and it's a film festival about adaptations from books to film. And I got asked to curate it this year, and we had a really great time. So you do about 20 films over 5 days, and we do screenings and interviews and guest panels and all kinds of things. And we had some really wonderful events. We did Far From the Madding Crowd, which was shot down here in Dorset, obviously, but that's it was the 60th anniversary of it being filmed down here, and we put out a call for anybody who had been involved in any way or had seen any of the filming or any of that kind of stuff. And loads of people came forward and came in as sort of this gala opening on the first night when we screened it on the big screen. And we had people who had one guy who's now, who subsequently went on to become a documentary cameraman, but it started his love of filming. He had followed the filming around for almost a year, just taking original photographs which had never been seen, and which he brought for us. And then there was somebody else whose mum had done all the sewing for a lot of the costumes. She lived in a little house in Weymouth, and this person reported that like their dad would come home and would be sitting next to Julie Christie on the sofa, like while she was having her costume sewn up, and Terence Stamp would come round, and it was like all of these things. So there were loads of local people who came to that. It was really magical. It's also an amazing film on the big screen. That was a really great chance. And we had another night, and we had also a gala screening of Casino Royale. It was one of my big hitters. And David Arnold came down for that, composer David Arnold, and also Neil Purvis and Rob Wade, the screenwriters, came down for that and did hosted a Q&A with them afterwards, and we did that. And then we did 2001 was another show, and we had Keir, who was the Keir Dullea, who was the lead in it. His
Dave Bowman.
His daughter was walking past a poster for it in Bridport. We didn't know she lived in Bridport. She'd only moved recently. She said, "Oh, that's my dad." And she came to talk to us about it. So I filmed an interview with her, which we played before the film in this big 1920s Art Deco cinema that we had. And also she got Keir to record a special welcome message as a surprise. And we played that before the film as well. So did that, and I interviewed David Zucker for Airplane, which we did remotely, and Walter Murch, the legendary Hollywood editor. Got to talk to him. We did Touch of Evil, the Orson Welles film, which he recut to Orson Welles' original memo. So we did all that, and then we did these sessions which I introduced this year, which is called Meet the Makers, where every lunchtime we just brought filmmakers in to talk about their jobs and go, okay, what do you do all day, for people who wanted to get into the industry. So James Strong came down and did an hour on what it's like to be a director. Suzanne Mackey, who produced Seven Dials and obviously The Crown and Calendar Girls, and did that. David Arnold did one on composing. It was just really... It was really exciting. It was just like a little hub of activity for a few days, and lovely to curate something. But also, like, I think the big thing for me, it's part of the showrunner's idea that I've been doing recently, and with this festival, it's like just to make sure that people feel like film and TV is not a distant thing that happens over there. You know, it's like there are jobs that you can do. I never really knew people like that growing up. We've talked about this. It was a very, very far removed as a possible job for me. But it's become, important for people to know that. And to hear people talk about how you can do these jobs, what they're like, what it means on a day-to-day basis. So that was a really important guiding light for that festival, and I really love that. And it's like we had kids from the local school in Bridport, from the secondary school, came to David Arnold's talk, and then afterwards he took them off. They just went and had half an hour just asking him questions, just like, a dozen of them and him, just getting a private audience with him. So it was really lovely, and the sun shone as well, which makes a big difference.
Always helps.
It really does.
That's really good, kind of breaking down that barrier, and some of the myths that people perhaps have about working in the industry, and actually, it can be done, and it's hard work, and who you know to an extent, but it's not an impossible thing to get into.
Exactly.
No, I think that's really true, and important. More important than ever for people to know, especially now when there's technology where you can make stuff and demo stuff yourselves, and put it online to demonstrate that. But then it's like, well, how do you get into that, and what is it like when you're doing it on a day-to-day basis? Really, really important, because you want everyone to be able to have a voice and everyone to have equal opportunities to get in. And there's a very good charity, which I don't know if all of your all of your listeners, viewers, subscribers know about, called Arts Emergency, which is a charity which deliberately sort of tries to provide the equivalent of an old boys network for people who don't have an old boys. People like me, and I don't know about you guys, but who went to state school and don't have access to people who you know, and it's like they ensure that kids coming through have great opportunities, and it's a really great charity. They do a lot of mentoring. They're expanding across the country, so I'd encourage anybody to look them up, and whether you're interested in being in the industry or if you want to donate to support people who might be, all the future artists and storytellers and all that kind of stuff. They're a really brilliant charity.
Oh, I'll have a look into that. Yeah, that sounds really.
We'll put the link out.
We'll do that. Yeah. How long have you got left, Chris? Just thinking, it's
long as you want,
just
guys.
after 10. Oh, okay. All right, lovely.
Brilliant.
So,
you're going to split this into a two-parter, aren't you? I can just feel it.
We probably can, yeah. That'd be great,
It's another 4-hour session. So it's the first one was like the hottest day of the year. It's a little bit cooler today, all right?
Yeah,
it is. It's not quite as bad as that. But...
Yeah.
God, yeah, that when we met, that was so hot.
It's hot, wasn't it?
Probably seems cold in comparison to what it's been like recently.
Yeah, probably
right. So, you might be aware that Circuit Breaker is happening at the moment, which is the Fugitive Doctor multimedia event that Who is doing, and we're quite pals with Jonathan Wilkins, who edits the Titan range, and he reminded us today, didn't he, Paul, that the Fugitive
He did, yes. He says, if you got Chris on, ask him what he thinks about Circuit Breaker. Actually, he doesn't talk like that at all, actually. Sorry, Jonathan.
Sorry, Jonathan, if you're listening.
Yeah.
But
he said like he's in the room, but sorry, Jonathan.
I know, I just manifested him as a Yorkshire, a 60-year-old Yorkshireman. Which he's not.
he's not at all. He's none of those
I'll
things.
stop talking now, actually, before I really put my foot in it.
But he said Fugitive is your creation after all. So I just wondered if you'd caught up on any of that, or
I'm aware that it's no, I haven't had any input. No, I'm aware that it's happening. I'm only recently aware because I don't, I just because I'm doing other stuff, and it's like, so when I realised that it was the Fugitive Doctor and Joe Martin at the centre of kind of some really big story across multiple forms, like it's such a brilliant thing to have heard about that. First hearing about it, I was like, that's amazing, because Joe deserves it, the character deserves it, and also just the fact that people have really taken that character to their hearts, as they should, but given, obviously we knew it was going to be controversial when we brought it in, but for it to be, when you're just showing me there, Paul, the front cover of Doctor Who magazine, and it's Joe, in costume on a TARDIS, and it's I just think it's wonderful, and it's really great evidence of how things you bring into Doctor Who have very long lives, and I think people often forget that at the moment when they're introduced. But I think one of the things I think I've talked about with you guys is what you want to do as showrunners. You are laying things down for future people. You're telling the stories you're telling, but you're also creating and expanding the sandboxes that people can play in future. And so to see that playing out, when that was the hope when we were telling those stories, and the Times Child story and all of these things, to go, it's happening. Yeah, it's really lovely and rewarding, and I'm really delighted for Joe as well. It's just like, it's just fantastic to see how much she's been taken to everybody's hearts. I love it.
Yeah, it's
and
really
she's loving it as well, isn't she?
It's
amazing.
She's really getting above it.
Completely amazing.
Yeah.
And she gets so much energy as well. She's like all these phones through, she's just buzzing constantly. It's brilliant.
And she's got her own Sonic now as well.
Indeed,
has she? Oh, wow.
Yeah, through some kind of timey-wimey trickery.
Oh, does that work?
Yeah.
Is that causing some discussion?
I was a little bit sceptical myself, Chris. I'm not going to lie.
I wasn't saying that I was sceptical. I was just saying, how have they
It works.
Yeah, I love it. Great, great. As she should. You want the Doctor to have that. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's great to see the exactly like you say, the kind of development of these things. The Big Finish 13th Doctor series has been fantastic.
They're getting quite way in now, aren't they?
Yes.
Very popular, I'm told, by Nick Briggs, who
that's
see
great.
occasionally.
Yeah. So that's been fantastic having more of that every couple of months. And you've listened to them, haven't you, Paul? But Bhavnisha Palmer's in this one playing Sonia again.
Great!
Yeah,
there you go. It's the same thing again, isn't it? It's just like that thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So I'd forgotten actually. Well, I knew that she was in this one, then forgot about it. And then when I was listening to her, I was like,
surprised.
"Oh, Bav!" Yeah. So that was really exciting to hear.
Another someone with energy as well. Actually,
She was one of the
really
first people we spoke to. And did I ever tell you how I completely randomly met her? Did you know that?
Yeah, you told it a few times.
Oh, yeah, but Chris won't know. Anyway.
It's cruel having a mate who does that to you, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We love each other, really.
Yeah. But yeah, she was one of the first people we spoke to, and just so full of life and uplifting, and just wonderful. So,
very positive.
Yeah, she was great. So we've got a few more questions for you, Chris, but we've got a few questions and things from some listeners as well, haven't we?
Oh, yes. Lovely.
Yes. Should we go to Morgan?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do a bit of this, because actually there's a couple of questions here from our listeners which are kind of related. And then we got a little voicemail from Lee as well, which is also related.
Oh, okay.
But let's do Morgan first, because Morgan's come up with something which I think is really lovely. So Morgan says, "Hi Chris, Morgan here. Was absolutely honoured to meet you at my local bookshop. Just wanted to ask you, as I forgot to... ... Morgan asks, if you came back to Doctor Who for a guest writing appearance, which villain would you bring back to the show and why? And it must be one you haven't written for your era of the show," says Morgan.
Well, Morgan, yes, lovely to meet you too. I won't come back for a guest writing appearance or to run it.
Well, not anytime soon.
No, or at all.
But if you did.
If I did, I think the one that was always at the back of my head that I didn't do would probably be Crinoids, Seeds of Doom. I think we talked about Seeds of Doom as one of my favourite stories when I was with you last time. Yeah. But I think, it would have been. I don't think we could have quite done it justice without a big budget, but I think nowadays you could do it really real justice, and it's I would have liked to have done that, and that might have popped up if we'd not ended up doing Flux. I don't know. It was ticking at the back of my head, but
was that?
Yeah. I can just see all the thousands of clickbait articles that are going to be generated by all of these things. Right, in a missing episode, it's just like, but I love them and I love that story, and they're great images, aren't they? And you could definitely do it brilliantly in a modern global setting. So probably
this
that
thing, because it's not just. Oh, you tell me actually. So is it just the Crinoid? Because obviously that's a big spectacle, the big growing vegetable, right? But is it also the kind of thriller setting that frameworks that story? Because it's a Robert Banks Stewart, isn't it? And he wrote all those kind of Bergerac-y type things, and it was really. So if you brought a Crinoid back, would it be in a similar kind of setting as one of your thrillers, do you think? Or
that's interesting, isn't it?
More sci-fi.
I think you're right in that the tone of the story that the monster is introduced in, often then echoes down into when those monsters return. Not all of them, because the biggies like the Daleks have had all sorts of different stories now. Although you'd say the Cybermen ones were relatively close in tone to each other still. I think it probably does. I mean, it's so well directed, the Seeds of Doom, as well, isn't it? So it actually delivers on the thriller. And sometimes if the direction isn't right, it doesn't quite... things don't function as a thriller. They can just feel a little bit...
gel.
Yeah. So... I think so. I think the thing about it, the thing that's so memorable about it is just that it's the thing from another world aspect, isn't it? Of the pod being there, buried, and then sort of taking over everything. So it's good. I mean, the thing is. And often the reason you don't go back to those ones, and they're not every alien needs to recur, is when they've done the original one so well, you don't necessarily want to be, treading on that or just replicating it, because actually, that they really explore lots of aspects of that in that six-parter. It's really good.
They do, don't they? Yeah. It's one thing about that era. Well, actually, most of Tom Baker's stories, when you think about it, I mean, most of the villains, they're only one-offs, aren't they? And yet they are so memorable. They kind of imprinted themselves, their silhouettes, on the psyche of a generation. And then some, it's unshakable.
Well, and it's that the Hinchcliffe era, really. They don't bring back monsters, and then you bring them back. They don't really use. Once you're past the first season of Tom Baker, where it's not necessarily the reason those monsters are in the first season is because it's a new Doctor, and they just want to be sure. And then once Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes have full control, they're not interested in those old ones at all, really, until you get to Deadly Assassin, and the Master. So it's very interesting, isn't it? It's And they just did a great run. But then also it's that classic thing of they are, but what they do have is that sense of the sort of the fiction and the sort of genre pulp novels and things that they're harking to. All of those stories. So that's why they really, I know that word gothic is overused in relation to that era, but it's that sense of the heritage. I think the storytelling heritage, and that it often plays to the BBC storytelling strengths. Also that era as well. And they also had great designers, Roger Murray Leach and people who go on to be. The production standards are really high there as well.
Yeah, and you look at something like Robots of Death, which actually, on the same vein, actually, another one-off story, very, very memorable, another taut thriller with great world building. And I'll be listening to, and you can tell Nick Briggs this when you see him as well. I love the Big Finish Robot series. It's because it's a kind of spin-off from the Robots of Death, but it explores so much kind of about emergent technologies and kind of AI and it's so current as to kind of where we are now, and not just the technological part of it, but also the kind of political power plays, the culture wars that are in place as much as anything else. And I think now, actually, Robots is actually quite a few years old. I'm listening to stuff that has been produced in like 2021, 2022. And it's now 2026, and it feels even more relevant now than it probably did back then. So wonderful, wonderful storytelling, brilliant, just taken from that single world, just told in those 4 episodes.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's also the dissonance of those robots, the beautiful sculpted masks. Again, you're back to design, but like design and sound there. I mean, it's an incredible script, an incredible world building, as you want. It's very complete while also quite sealed. So it's very clever. And but the sense of the beautiful design, and then the beautiful voices and the vocal acting, and just the very stylish, So I think it's a really great dissonant story, isn't it? But it's also a very simple story, as a 4-parter. It's really exactly, it is that is a murder mystery, isn't it? That's the whole thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's really I mean, that's all of those are proper classics, aren't they?
Proper classics. Let's go to another couple of readers now. So Samantha Lee Schenk from Facebook has said, "Hi Chris, it's been a while now. Can you tell us about the original idea for Flux before it was reconstructed because of COVID and in a 6-show arc?" And then Liam Mason from Blue Sky also says, "How much did the pandemic affect Flux? I've always felt it was a couple of episodes light and wonder if having fuller resources would have extended/changed aspects of the story." It's quite a big one now. I think we did talk about some of this in our very first interview, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we'll always ask people's readers to go back and have a listen to that. But in summary, do you think?
Well,
how
Flux was a response to the situation and the circumstances. It wasn't there wasn't a season which was Flux before the pandemic came in. So it was we had to basically take a pause and rebuild the show from scratch. So how we made it, how we could make it, what all the restrictions would be, how far our budget would go. I then wrote Flux in response to knowing how we would be able to make Doctor Who within an impossible set of circumstances. So that it's not like there was a season which was Flux and then COVID hit, and then, because obviously Flux is a metaphor for COVID anyway. So that there isn't a longer version of it or all that kind of stuff. I think listen, every story, every series of Doctor Who would benefit from a bigger budget. There are some episodes in there which are we had to do to parcel out the budget, but also to make some of the filming logistics work and how people were bubbling and where we could shoot and all of that kind of stuff. So it totally is what it is. It was in response to, and we had to junk a whole series. And I think I've said to you before, that wasn't that far along. It was probably, there were a few ideas actually. We talked about it when we first talked about it. I was like, there was nothing there. Actually, I've remembered since then there were a few nascent ideas which we were developing with writers and a few little things and a couple of things I wanted to do. It wasn't. There isn't a longer version of it. Sure, if you had more time. But I think the thing is, it's funny, isn't it? And it's the interesting thing about once you do things and people people respond to them and they go, oh, if you had more time or more money or more episodes, all those kind of things. It's like it's that parallel universe never exists, and actually the things that get made because of that time and that money and those people. And so it would be
exactly.
I never really have an answer for this question, which is like, well, it would be entirely different, and it wouldn't be there,
The fact that it was made and it was incredible under those circumstances, and that it's as good as it is, and it's, for me, it's just, the pinnacle. When people say, what's your favourite Doctor Who story? It's Flux.
Well, that's very nice.
I can get away with 6 episodes in as one, It's,
not the key to time then, Jeff?
Well, that's a close second,
I think
and I was just...
I think it's... Sorry, Jeff, after you.
I was just going to say, going back to Morgan saying which villain would you bring back, brings me to Patings. I'm still desperate for that.
Yeah.
So maybe text Nick Briggs. And,
since you told him this, he's never shut up about it, Chris.
It's true.
Honestly. He puts it out. Patings.
Yeah, we might have done that in the 3rd season, perhaps. You can't really do that on audio, though, can you? It's not.
No, it's not
non-verbal monster. But the budget would be about right.
I'd like to see. Yeah. Throw that challenge to Big Finish, though. How would you make it work? See if they could do it.
So,
Paul,
I think we've done a sand miner.
That'd be Then you get all the kind of ding ding ding.
Robots versus Pating.
We've got Lee on voicemail. I'd like you to listen to this, Chris, if you could. So Lee's got a question, but he's also got a couple of things to say. So
Lee, I'll just say first, actually, Paul, before you play.
Good job I didn't press the play button there, because once it's playing, it's gone. Go on.
So Lee lives in America, and as you might know, we do a couple of fan audio dramas with the 13th Doctor. And one day we had a message come through, and this was about one that Paul had written that we'd done. And the message said, this is not just one of the best audio dramas I've ever listened to, but one of the best Doctor Who stories I've ever heard.
Oh, I see.
Paul texted me and he said, "Did you send this in, Jeff?" And I said, "No, it wasn't me." And but we didn't know who it was because it just said, from wherever it was in America. So anyway, we mentioned on the next podcast, to whoever sent this, thank you. It made Paul very emotional, and it cracked his heart of stone. And then eventually we found out that it was Lee, and he's been.
Oh, was it actually Lee? This Lee?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, really.
Oh, well, there you go. Now everyone knows.
Oh, look at that.
And Lee has often contributed voice notes to the podcast and stuff. And we've currently got an audio drama that we're working on, and Lee has done a voice
he's got
for
a part
it.
in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
So he's got lovely tone, as you'll hear. But yeah, I haven't heard this message yet, but Paul has. So over to you, Paul.
Can we do it now?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. You ready? I did press a button. Let's press it again. Here we go. Definitely it.
Guys, thank you so much for getting Chris Chibnall. I'm getting the Parkwood Murders in audio, so that means when I listen to you guys Sunday, I'm going to try to skip around any spoilers. My question for Chris is, what were your plans for The Fugitive Doctor in Flux or anything else? I would really love to hear more about that. I know you hear that question all the time. But before you answer that question, I just want you to know how momentous you were as a Doctor Who head writer for me. I was on a podcast discussing your run of Doctor Who, and one of the things I said is that you really made me feel like the TARDIS had enough room for me. I felt present in your series in a way that I just could not articulate otherwise, even compared to the subsequent series. And I was told by Joe Ford on that podcast that your saying was space for all. And I wanted you to know that I got that watching every episode, even though I didn't know that's what you were saying. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the Parkwood Murder, and thanks for doing this interview with these great guys.
Wow.
Oh,
that's
wow.
lovely.
Well, that's incredible. Thank you, Lee. I mean, number one, he does have an incredible voice. So that's good. So that's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a really gorgeous thing to hear. And number one, you're welcome, Lee. But also, I think what that voice note encapsulates, what he's saying, what you're saying, Lee, is absolutely the discussions that we had right at the start. Is that was the whole point of that era for everyone to feel they could be on board the TARDIS, or that they see themselves in the show. And that, I think sometimes people have wanted to imply a criticism of previous eras or anything like that when I say stuff like that. It's not the case. It's just the moment in time that I took over the show, there was an opportunity to ensure that was the case. And we found people who wanted to do that with us, both actors and writers and directors and production crew. So that's a wonderful thing to hear, and I've heard that a few times from other people and all sorts of events, and it always means the world, because it's like you just want Doctor Who to be for everyone and to be enjoyed by everyone. So yeah, you're very welcome. What was the first part of his question? Can't remember.
How much would Fugitive
Doctor
figured into Flux before the plans changed? But you probably can't really answer that too much.
Well, I mean, there would have been no
well.
Flux without that. It would have been a third season, probably more like the second season. Would we have brought the Fugitive Doctor back? Possibly. I can't answer it, as I'm talking hypothetically.
Yeah.
We certainly didn't talk about it as a central plank, because also I think it was important for that character to have a lot of mystery as well, and for other people to own it. I mean, definitely the plan was, it's the reason that whole arc is there. It's not just about the Fugitive Doctor, it's about the Timeless Child as it's a way of telling that story. Or it's part of telling that story. So the third season was always intended to be within the kind of new reality that the sort of end of our second season opens up for the show, and the new sort of other corners that you can go into. So yeah, there weren't other plans, because we were, if you think the pandemic hit just when our second season was going out, was transmitting. So we were in very early stages of writing, because it's a very fast turnaround show. So we had, we had writers, we had pitches, we had some storylines. We didn't have any scripts quite, but it was, there was nothing. It hadn't come up, actually, and we hadn't thought about it. So, that's what's great now, is with something like Circuit Breaker, it just gets taken on and it can have its own its own life. Yeah.
Brilliant. We've got another voice note. This is from we keep getting this guy call in, Chris.
He keeps sending them in. I don't know why.
I got a lot of questions, and I bet you will after you hear this as well.
Do you want me to play the message from Dave Tomato Fingers?
Yeah.
Right, there you go. Steal yourself, Chris.
Grab your drink.
Can I just say this is water?
I have no idea.
And I might regret that now.
I think it needs to be something quite a fair bit stronger. Right, let's have a listen and see what Dave's coming out with this week. Come on, Dave. Let's have it.
Hiya, Jeff. Hiya, Paul. It's Dave Tomato Fingers here. I hope you're well. And look, I'm really excited to see that Chris Chibnall's on your show. Anyways, I've got a little pitch for him, little elevator pitch. So I'll make it quick anyways. Here it goes. So I've been working on this for 10 years, and it's like a new book. And it's like a murder mystery. And it's about this lad who's been twatted by a butternut squash, and he's lying on the ground and they turn him over, and he's covered in butternut squash all over. And they're like, oh man, that's disgusting, you know what I mean? But he's been properly murdered, it's really gory and all that. Anyways, and then there's the police come down, and they got to interview everybody and find out who it was what done it, and they just don't know. They're interviewing everyone, and they just can't work it out. And anyways, it actually turns out that's this lass what done it, and she's got weird eyes. She's actually got turnips her eyes or something like that. Might not be turnips, but that's the kind of thing that I've got in my head. That's the overriding weird image. But I think that's really strong. What do you reckons? Anyway, loving the show. Bye. I've just realised I've told you who've done it now, haven't I? So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Anyways, I'll go and think of something else. All right. Bye.
And
bye, Dave.
In case you're wondering, Chris, we've never seen Paul and Dave in the same room together.
Spooky. I just felt like I'd heard that voice before in my nightmares somewhere.
Yeah. And definitely the nightmares, I'm sure. Yeah, nobody would dream that voice.
No.
And I bet you've just scrapped all your plans for the third Nicola book, haven't you? And
the allotment.
Well, surely it's going to be called. Surely he's going to call it Squashed. That's going to be the, there you go.
See, that's why you're a published writer, and I'm just.
No, it's really not. Well, it's great. It's great he called in. Can you not block his number?
Contributed so much. Weirdly, not. It's almost anonymous. We're not even sure Dave Tomato Fingers is his real name. But,
no, I think it probably is. I think it's all one word, like Madonna.
Yeah. Dave Tomato Fingers. Oh dear! You ever had so much fun at this time of night?
It's 3 a.m, guys.
3 a.m.
Yeah. We've all just hallucinated Dave Tomato Fingers at the same time.
Dear Lord.
So before we wrap up, what else have you been reading recently, Chris, or watching that you recommend?
Yeah.
Well, what have I been reading? So I've been reading, I would really recommend London Falling by Patrick Radden Keefe, which is a non-fiction book. It's currently #1 in the non-fiction hardback charts, has been for a long time, which is an incredible piece of journalism and reportage and about a London teenager who fell to his death from a luxury tower block, and his parents' quest for truth. And it's I actually listened to it on audiobook. It's narrated by the author, and it's a brilliant audiobook. So I've been reading that recently. I really recommend it to everyone. It's a really real shocking story, and very much about what London is now. It's very, very interesting.
wow.
Brilliantly written,
Yeah.
brilliantly narrated. Then the other book, I've got a number on the go. The one that I've loved, that I've read recently, there's a couple. There's a book called the Palm House, which is on the Booker long list that has just come out, by Gwendolyn Riley, who is a brilliant writer, and she's a real detailed miniaturist, and it's just a beautifully written, very short book, which I would encourage you to look up. And there's a book coming out in the autumn called Tell Me Something True, which is by Michael Rowbottom, and he's an Australian writer. It's set in Australia. It's a great crime novel about an incident that takes place, and it's sort of small town Australia, contemporary kind of crime story. Very beautiful, very moving, absolute page turner, blitzed through that. So that's just some of them, but I'm obviously reading quite a lot these days. Unlike when I was working at Doctor Who, where you go a long time only reading scripts and schedules and budgets.
Still got a bit of time. What about you, Jeff? What's floating your boat right now?
Well, I just read this Parkwood Murders, which I thought was pretty good.
How was it?
It was all right. Yeah.
Nice.
It was,
nice. I'll put that on the cover of the next book.
It was nice.
Was right.
Yeah, you've got, was it Lee Child? This guy knows how to write. The Guardian, amazing. Jeff, it was nice.
It's good.
Well, I went to see Spider-Man last night.
You did. See, now, this is, Frey was talking to me about this, that they have this thing about releasing films before they release films, allowing people to see the films before release and release information on them that spoils it for the rest of us. But how was it, Jeff?
That was superb.
Is it? Okay. That's all we need to know. No spoilers whatsoever.
No spoilers. I went with my son and his friend. It was the first Marvel film at the cinema me and my son have been to. He really likes Spidey and Tom Holland. But genuinely, I thought it was the best of his series, and to be honest, I think he's the best Spider-Man and also the best Peter Parker. They really got the character right with these. But this was quite intense in places, a little bit weird. Had some cracking action in it, but was also quite emotional in a surprising way, and they subverted some of the kind of plot mechanics to quite moving effect, and it also had a number of moments in it that I actually wanted to stand up and shout "Yes, Spidey" really loudly.
Okay,
did you do it?
I didn't
had your son with you, and it was the first time you've been to a Marvel film, and he will never go to one ever again with you if you do that sort of thing. First time out.
Scarring for life, the poor love.
That's exciting.
Him and his friend afterwards, I said, "What did you think?" That was brilliant. They really enjoyed it, so it was good, and also absolutely packed. The entire screen was full. The entire cinema was round. It was great to see that, and the Odyssey shown as well. But people are going back out to see stuff, and so that was good. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Some big films,
and so that was good. I haven't finished watching it, but the Boroughs on Netflix with Alfred Molina, which was a sort of. So I thought it was kind of a slightly Stranger Things for older people, for adults, but that was pretty good. So I need to finish off that as well. Have you seen it, Chris?
I haven't seen that, but just have you guys seen Widow's Bay on Apple?
No.
Guys, come on now. That's one of the best shows of the year. Supernaturally. Oh, you'll like it.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll like it, I think. It's really good.
Who's in it?
Apple's really
So
good
it's
for this
Matthew
stuff,
Rhys is in it.
Yes, I've seen it advertised.
There's some really great that I would say that is a must see, and there isn't loads of must see.
Widow's Bay.
Widow's Bay. It's on Apple. If you're getting your Apple subscription, I would also recommend. It's in another genre, but slightly gone under the radar probably here.
Yeah.
But a really good show is Platonic, which is Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, who are just mates, old college mates who don't have a romantic thing between them, but it's them messing about. It's really good as a half-hour comedy.
Yeah. They've done a couple of. Did they do Bad Neighbours together?
They possibly did, didn't they? Yeah, I mean they have
they've done a couple of
chemistry, but it's just the two of them, and it's such a good show. But Widow's Bay, really brilliantly directed. Hiro Murai, who directed it, who does a lot.
Have to check that.
That's probably
I tend to subscribe and unsubscribe from Apple, so I'll subscribe for a few months and I'll just binge everything. There's a lot of stuff racking up. So I've got Silo 3, which is out now, isn't it? Pretty much done. So I'm going to go back and do 1 and 2, and then do 3 and catch up on all the other stuff. So I think I'm a series of Slow Horses down as well.
Yeah, there's a new one just coming on. So they're on a really great run, Apple, and but really I think Widow's Bay, Platonic, and
they've got. I didn't even know that they were doing this, because this is Neuromancer.
It's coming out in January.
There's a cyberpunk original. You'll know this, and it's just everyone's always said that it's unfilmable. And I found out within the space of 24 hours that not only is there going to be an original series of Blade Runner out on one of them
Amazon,
somewhere,
I think,
but they're also doing Neuromancer as well. I'm like, boof! This is like all my wish fulfillment dreams suddenly come true. Well, maybe not all of them, but certainly those in terms of TV at least. Anyway, it's just wow.
Yeah. There's some lovely things knocking about, even if you have to sort of dig around a bit more than you used to kind of go, where is that? And what is that?
Yeah.
How is it? But yeah. I
But
think if you like
this is the
supernatural,
kind of
Jeff,
stuff that
you're going to really like Widow's Bay. It's going to be properly
check that out
up your street.
Yeah,
but it's like this is the world in which Doctor Who now sits, or would have to sit, isn't it? So this is the kind of changing landscape.
Well, it is, and it's I think that's the thing, and anybody thinking that it can go back to the past, or that any approach in the past is applicable, it just isn't anymore, and it isn't if you're making any type of show now. It's entirely different to making a show 3 or 4 years ago, let alone 10, 20, 60 years ago. So, it's really going to require a lot of thought and a big visionary take that is going to be there for the ensuing 10 years, because who knows what television looks like in 3 years, let alone 5 or 10, and it doesn't. What we know is it doesn't look like the way it did 5 years ago, because even now nothing looks like that. So it's and it's always been the sort of challenge for Doctor Who is it's always been at the forefront of those things. It always has been a pioneer, and it's got to be that again somehow.
Somehow, somewhere, by someone.
Yeah, someone brave.
There's a note to draw this to a close. Do you think there's something to ponder?
Yeah, but also in the meantime, you've got you've got all this other stuff going on. So it's like that's all great with the stuff that people really love and characters they love, and expanding all of that. It's really great that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
loads to enjoy. Brilliant. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And to anybody, anybody listening, there's the book again. It is The Parkwood Murders, #2.
Mine's signed.
Jeff's got a signed one. I'm sure you can get a signed one, or turn up at one of Chris's many signing events. Various
I
things.
can see you across the autumn.
Have you still got more to do? Or
just a couple across the autumn, and then I guess the paperback will be out sometime next year. So we'll probably do a few little bits and pieces around that, perhaps. If I'm not filming.
We should see if we can get along to one.
Yeah.
We should see if
Yeah,
there's one that we
sort
can...
of like I don't know. Last time we did that, we got thrown out by security. I don't know.
Well, you can get your copy signed
wasn't-
by them, Paul. You know, you can get that damaged in that sense. So,
as they throw me behind bars.
yeah, you and...
That's not really an exclusion order, you know.
No, even though it's in the name of Dave Tomato Fingers.
Yeah.
yeah.
What are you suggesting,
Nothing.
Chris?
Please make it out to Dave Tomato Fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant stuff. And congratulations on expanding the deal to a 4-book deal. We are absolutely looking forward to seeing more of these thrillers. And of course, when it appears on TV as well, that's so much to look forward to. And you're a busy guy and will continue to be busy. We're always looking forward to seeing what you're going to come out with, Chris.
And whatever secret stuff you're working on, we'll find out in due course.
Eventually we'll get there.
It would be no fun if I came on and said, I've got no secrets. That's not the way it's been
absolutely,
for a long time.
I'd be concerned. Yeah,
It's been essentially most of my career since I've been a screenwriter. It's like...
I tell you what as well, actually, I just have to say this, because whenever somebody writes a bit in a novel and there's a website in there, you know the first thing I do?
Yeah, you click on it.
Is check out whether or not there is actually a website.
Yeah,
there is a
up,
website.
There is.
which is great fun. There's Parkwood Dorset. Do you know what the bit I like the most is when you press book, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen this, Jeff?
No, I
takes you to the book.
Brilliant.
Look at that. Hey,
Right?
that's brilliant.
That's
It's
fantastic.
fucking genius, right
Easter
there.
eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I knew there would be people who did that, and that was particularly beautifully designed and set up by an amazing young gentleman. So very very pleased you did that. Thanks, Paul. That's you got the pun. You got everything. I'm very pleased.
I don't have a signed book yet, so
no, but you got a moral. You got a moral victory there, haven't you, with that website saying you actually paid attention. You did type that web address in.
I certainly did. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Best wishes.
And to you.
We can make
for all your ventures.
Yeah, I hope we can make it a 4-trick at some point in the future. I don't know what you call it.
A quadrilogy.
One up from a hat trick. Be a quadrilogy. Yeah.
As opposed to a trilogy in 5 parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know. Thanks. It's lovely to
Brilliant
talk to you guys.
stuff.
Thanks
Thank
to
you,
everyone
listeners.
for the questions
Thank
as
you
well.
for listening.
Yes, thanks everyone.
Absolutely right.
And
indeed.
Thank you, Chris, and we'll catch you all next time on Who Corners Corner. Thanks a lot.
Take care, everyone. See you soon.